What's up, everybody? Tom here. Welcome to a quick, short, very controversial, very touchy, very um, seldom talked about topic on this American Patriot podcast. So, live is currently the YouTube. Will be posted on Rumble for those who follow me there. It's my main platform I'm usually streaming from. Try out the StreamYard thing really quick, see how it goes. Maybe I'll be able to get it someday. And a lot of podcasters use it for their interviews, stuff like that. So I'm currently just going from my MacBook Pro audio, so hopefully it's good. Turn off my AC and purifier temporarily to minimize the noise in the background, so please let me know how it goes. Appreciate this. But as it says in my description, and I'm going to switch my screen, so bear with me, American Republic, the Constitution, first Judeo-Christian morals. Um, I encourage you to read the description below on both accounts. I encourage you to, read what I wrote, but I'm just going to read it here really quick verbatim as I'm recording this. So, the Constitution of the United States of America is the foundation of our Christian nation, and a nation built around Christian principles and values, or Judeo-Christian values. On the premise of complete freedoms, or as a sovereign national of the American Republic, has a right given by God to do whatever they please with no restrictions. Nothing is a crime unless it's harmful to another physically or financially, or a combination of both, and every elected official, appointed official, law enforcement officer, military service member, and citizen has a duty to the Constitution and God. God first, the Constitution second. While many things when it comes to true freedom are seen as immoral under yesterday's and today's standards, Christian values are rightfully so, because after the fall, God clothed mankind for a purpose, and I don't know what fucking series that I was saying, but for a purpose. Yet, many people today, stupid thing, want to run around this nation without clothes, and trust me, in a hot climate like Texas, Florida, Hawaii, South Georgia, New Mexico, Arizona, I get where wearing clothes might suck sometimes in that excruciating heat. And technically, there's really nothing illegal about it. By someone just being nude and enjoying a day in the sun, it's not going to cause physical or financial harm to somebody, to the person, so why criminalize it? But then comes the moral aspect. It's morally unwanted and unapproved of. Very few people would want to go outside and see their neighbor naked picking up their mail. I mean, if he's got a hot wife, yeah, I wouldn't care too much, but not that I really intend or desire. No, I don't. So I am against this, for the record. And no one wants to see their family members without clothing on. I sure as hell do not ever want to see that. But like I said, is it illegal? Technically, no. So, of course, bad enough that many of us had to see people, family members, fathers, etc., friends, coworkers bend over and crack. And now it's like, yo, crack kills, bro. Pull your freaking pants up. I don't want to see that shit. We make jokes about how we fuck around, but seriously, no one wants it. So, what are the chances of this becoming something? That's the question. Yeah, we make jokes because it's natural. We weren't born with clothes on. They get put on us when we come out of the womb. It says wound in my description, damn it. My description is going to be screwed up in this one, so I'll try to fix it as best I can. But again, I asked this question in this short stream because what are your thoughts on President Trump potentially declaring 3 to 6 months of martial law, or declaring 6 or half that, and every political official miraculously allowing for a complete restoration of our republic back to the foundation within 30 days, guaranteed? Every politician, Republican, conservative, Democrat, liberal, you name it, everyone says, all right, Mr. President, we'll all sign this Republic Restoration Act. All states will have 30 days to be compliant in constitutional law. Anything that is clear or potential violation of a civil right will be eliminated, null and void. But including in that, you wanted your Bibles back in schools and universities and households, will allow that authority. But here's your catch, Mr. President. You decriminalize public nudity nationwide, as long as people are not committing lewd acts in public or undressing in public. We're good with that little restriction. And we'll let you ban pornography, because we don't agree with it either. What say you? If there were to be a federal bill, Trump writes the Executive Republic Restoration Act. During this whole process of these 3 months, you're going to be issued a federal sovereign citizen identification with minimal information on it. The picture, it'll say Republic of America, Republic of America, or Republic of the United States of America, free, private, sovereign, national. Because you're a national of the nation. You'll have your picture, state of residency, county of residency in that state, date of birth, height, eye color, hair color, issue date, no expiration, whatever security features they want to put in place, no chips. On the back it says restrictions, most of ours will say none. It will say endorsements. All of them will say all rights reserved under U.S. Federal Constitution and protected via UCC 1-308 and all other UCC codes. If you have any endorsements, like, you were a commercial operator, you drive trucks across country, it will say commercial operator. If you were a law enforcement officer, current or retired, it would say Leosa retired, or Leo retired, or Leo active, or active Leo, retired Leo. If you're a military, it's active military or military veteran or mil-vet. Any other endorsement you have, like security professional, security officer. Also implemented in that bill will be the security industry will have to be national standard. Everyone goes through one class to be an armed guard, so you can work in either capacity and still carry concealed on duty if not working in an armed capacity. But likely at that point, nationwide carry would be prevalent enough to not matter. But yeah, if you were working in an unarmed capacity at a certain post, you would have to carry your firearm concealed, or carry a concealable firearm on your person, in an unarmed situation. But if you are working as an armed guard, and whatever, carry your 1911 if you want. Who gives a shit? But that's the thing. When it comes to laws, our God-given rights, people don't really have to like the fact that we have the right to do something. They have to honor it. They have to respect it. They don't gotta like it. And that's where Christian morals contradict a lot of things in this nation. So, What are your thoughts? What would you do if January 1st, 2026, Caroline Leavitt comes out with President Trump for emergency briefing? Or maybe they don't have the press there. Maybe it's just an emergency briefing. Caroline and Trump in the Oval Office, sitting side by side. No one in the press but the White House team, broadcast live from the White House through their feed on all platforms. All your news channels, both private and public, are covering it by default. He says, I'm going to declare the next 6 months martial law. And we're going to sign an executive order blank called the Republic Restoration Act. This is going to ensure you have the ability to carry out your God-given rights without infringement of all your rights, travel, Second Amendment, everything, without being, bothered in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to go to my ChatGPT thing really quick. And this is what ChatGPT came up with if this were to happen. It's a long-form martial law restoration plan, laying out a 6-month national reset across morality, economics, law, and faith. This is the presidential address to the nation. Hypothetical. Like I said, China's going to pay for all this, and they're not going to have any money in the nation. Nope. We owe China nothing. Fellow Americans, tonight I come before you not only as president, but as a fellow citizen who loves this country with all his heart. We're living through a time of division, corruption, and moral decay. For decades, the Constitution has been ignored, our rights have been chipped away, and our families and communities suffered drastically under the law and should never have existed. I don't do a great Trump impression, so I'm going to stop there. But it's for the reason, after consulting leaders from both political parties and with the overwhelming support of the American people, that I have declared a temporary period of martial law lasting about 6 months. This is not a power grab, it's not the end of democracy. It's a reset, a chance to return our nation to its God-given foundation of liberty, faith, and justice. In fact, it is the end of democracy. It's the restoration of the republic, because America is a constitutional republic, not a democracy. And yes, it's a little British for you. Over the next half year, we take bold, decisive action to restore the republic. By the time this period ends, America will look very different, freer, stronger, and more faithful than it's ever been in generations. Tonight, I will share the roadmap for this great restoration. Step 1. Restoring constitutional rights. First, we will remove all laws, agencies, regulations that violate the plain text of the Constitution. For too long, Americans have been forced to beg the government for licensing to exercise their rights God Himself gave us. That ends now. Licenses for firearms are abolished. The Second Amendment is a guarantee, not a privilege. Unconstitutional agencies that overreach into the lives of the people without constitutional authority are dissolved. Cases pending under unconstitutional statutes will be immediately dismissed, and Americans who are prosecuted for exercising their rights will be freed and their records cleared. From this day forward, your rights will not depend on government approval. You will answer only to God and the Constitution. Eliminating corruption and treason. Second, we will hold accountable to those who for decades betrayed their oath of office. Politicians, bureaucrats, and officials who knowingly violated the Constitution, who enriched themselves while stripping freedoms from the people, will face charges of treason. Many of these individuals are already being detained at secure facilities, including Guantanamo Bay, where they await trial. Let this serve as a warning. No one, no matter how powerful, is above the law. Those who abuse their power against the American people will face justice. I don't know about you, but God, I would love to hear that coming out of President Trump's mouth. Especially these first two. First three at the very least. Maybe even the first four. We'll see. What are your thoughts? Gonna continue. Number 3 is reestablishing the Bible in American life. Third, we'll restore the Bible as the moral foundation of the nation. The founders understood that liberty cannot survive without virtue, and virtue cannot survive without faith. Bibles will be placed back into every public school and university classroom. Every house in America will have access to the Bible. For those who cannot afford one, the government will provide a voucher and even reimburse families for 50% of the cost of any Bible purchased. Bible education will return as a central element of public instruction, not to force belief, but to teach the history, morality, and foundation of Western liberty. This is not a coercion, it is about restoration, as Proverbs 14:34 says, "Righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people." America will once again be exalted through righteousness. The end of the poison of pornography, my favorite. Fourth, we will completely ban pornography in all its forms. For too long, pornography has fueled lust, addiction, exploitation, and the destruction of families. It has poisoned the hearts of men and women, enslaved minds, and even driven trafficking and abuse. Effective immediately, pornography is illegal nationwide. Websites, companies, and distributors of pornography will be shut down. Rehabilitation and counseling will be offered to those addicted to help them reclaim their purity and dignity. Jesus said in Matthew 5:28, "But I say unto you, those whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, hath committed adultery with her already in his heart." By banning pornography, we take a bold stand for purity, for marriage, for families, and for the health of the soul of this nation. Now, this is one I don't like at all. Public nudity and liberty. Now, I must address an issue that is more controversial: public nudity. As a Christian man, I believe modesty is right and virtuous. The Bible tells us in Genesis 3 that after the fall, Adam and Eve were clothed to cover their shame. Yet under our Constitution, we must carefully distinguish between what is sinful and what is criminal. Nudity by itself does not cause physical or financial harm to another person. Therefore, during this restoration, we will eliminate laws that criminalize mere public nudity. This does not, however, mean chaos. Lewd conduct, sexual acts in public, harassment, and indecency will remain strictly forbidden and punishable by law. But the simple act of appearing unclothed in public will no longer be a crime. Now, I say I do not agree with this. I do not like it or want it. But politically, I unfortunately find myself between a rock and a hard place. Let me be clear again, I'm not endorsing this as good or moral. I am recognizing it as constitutionally permissible, so long as no harm is done. Freedom means tolerating some things we personally dislike, while drawing a firm line against actions that bring real harm. The sixth one is economic reset and simplification. A restored republic cannot survive on debt, overregulation, and endless bureaucracy. Under martial law, we will eliminate burdensome regulations, strangle small business and workers, reestablish sound money practices, moving away from reckless spending, returning power to local communities by stripping Washington of functions better handled by states, counties, and towns. In 6 months, America's economy will be leaner, freer, and more responsive to the people. Number 7 is law enforcement and justice. Our law enforcement officers will be retrained under this new order. No longer will they enforce unconstitutional codes and fines that rob citizens of liberty. Their mission will be restored to its true purpose, protecting life, liberty, and property. Citizens, too, will have a role. With constitutional carry restored, communities will return to the public of responsible self-defense. When government is restrained and families are strengthened, crime naturally declines. Number 8 is a 6-month roadmap. And here will be our timeline for these next 6 months. Days 1 through 30, all unconstitutional laws repealed, treasonous officials detained, pornography banned, Bible distribution launched. Day 31 to 60, federal, state, and local constitutions align with the U.S. Constitution. Schools begin preparation for biblical curriculum. Nudity laws repealed. Unless you are engaging in lewd acts, you cannot undress in public. You cannot commit sexual acts in public. But if you walk out of your front door of your house without any clothes on, you cannot be arrested. I don't like it either. Trust me, I don't like it. Trust me, I don't like it either. I do not approve at all, but we have so many great things that are coming. We can give them a little for a little while. We'll figure it out later on. That was my horrible impression of Trump. Day 61 to 120, families receive Bible vouchers, education programs begin in schools, local government restructured. Day 121, martial law winds down, treason trials underway, full handoff of restored government to states and people. At the end of the 6 months, martial law will end, and the restored republic will continue under its constitutional framework, free from the corruption and overreach of the past. And number 9, my vision for America. My fellow Americans, this is not just a political program. This is spiritual and moral rebirth. We are committed ourselves to be a nation under God. Again, we are saying no more to corruption, exploitation, and immorality, and yes to liberty, responsibility, and righteousness. Some will be uncomfortable and some will disagree. I disagree with one thing. But for the words of Joshua in 24:15 ring true today, choose you this day whom you will serve, but as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. With God's help, the 6 month I can't talk today. With God's help, the 6 month restoration will set America on a course not just for survival, but for revival. We the people will be a people who walk in freedom, but also in faith. We will once again be one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. May God bless you, and may God forever bless the United States of America. So, I think I'm going to copy and paste this into something at some point. But what are your thoughts, guys? Like I said, as a newly born again Christian, I think everything in that is great except the allowing public nudity, because I don't agree with that. I think you should reserve that for your private spaces in your life. But some people disagree. And is it constitutionally illegal? No. Is it immoral and unwanted? Absolutely. But all in all, still unsure where I stand. But at the very least, if every constitutional right was restored, I can walk out of my house, carry my firearms, get in my truck as it sits right now, unregistered, and just go drive. To clear my head once in a while and just drive around or go to work, whatever I gotta do. And, my rights were protected completely. I think one little immoral thing being allowed would be the least of our worries if we can eliminate all the corruption and completely restore our rights and freedoms. What say you? I still don't know that. So thank you for tuning into this special episode. Hope you guys have an awesome, amazing, and blessed day. I gotta get going. Gotta be at W meeting. But I'll see you next time on the next stream. Not sure when it'll be, but thanks for tuning in. See you next stream.